Hello, I'm David Frainer, one of the organizers of the Seacoast Parkinson's Wellness Expo, which will take place on June 21st at the community campus in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. One of our goals for the Expo is to make it a fun, upbeat event as we meet new people, try out different activities together, and share our stories. But that doesn't mean we will shy away from the challenges that Parkinson's presents to individuals and families. In this interview, our co-host, Jill Backman, talks about the difficulty of trying to find services while caring for two aging parents, raising a 9-year-old, and working a full-time job. So, Jill, how did you get involved in helping folks with Parkinson's?
Well, my 5 years ago, my father, Rick Harden, was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And when he was diagnosed, he was fairly healthy. He had a little tremor and, a little he couldn't taste. There were little things, but he was pretty healthy. And we thought we were going to have a long, many years of navigating this disease with him. And he, about a year ago, he fell. And when he fell, it sort of launched him into another stage of Parkinson's. And he needed more care. He couldn't really drive much anymore. And my mother, they lived alone. They live alone in their house. And my mother has macular degeneration, so she could no longer drive. And so they needed my help and more of my help, mostly with transportation, but also, you know, advocating for them and for him because we were driving, you know, an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to get him to OT appointments and PT appointments, which was taking a toll on him, and on me because I work full time and I have a son. And, we were just kind of doing it and not really thinking, well, if there was any other option for us. And then, even transportation, I'd looked up transportation in our area for people with Parkinson's and other resources for people with Parkinson's in our area just to help, answer questions. I I joined Facebook groups, but they weren't Facebook groups in our area. They were national Facebook groups, and they were just filled with comments and nothing exactly what I was looking for, and not drilled down to, our area or our specific needs. And so it was a lot of digging and hunting and asking questions, and until we got to the point where we realized we could get him home care. We could get him somebody coming to the home to do that. I mean, why nobody told us that, I don't really know. And I don't know if they just didn't think of it or just I'm not really sure, but that was a huge weight lifted off our chests. And so we got that going, but insurance only covers a certain amount of time. Anyway, we also discovered that he had his Parkinson's might be related to his exposure to Agent Orange. And he was in Vietnam in 1969 and to 1970, which is when they were dumping Agent Orange on the troops in Vietnam. So it turns out that recently, Parkinson's people who are diagnosed with Parkinson's and were exposed to Agent Orange could receive VA benefits. But we didn't really know that, but we just happened to fall upon that information. And it was just hard to find resources, hard to find information, hard to find help with Parkinson's specifically. And unfortunately, he passed in January of this year, 2025. He had fallen, and that kind of just triggered a whole chain reaction, and he didn't make it. But when this Dan Tobin, our friend Dan and fellow co-host Dan Tobin approached me because I had worked with him at a previous job, and he also was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he approached me and asked me if I would be willing to help him with this Expo, which is basically bringing all the resources that are in our area to light for people with Parkinson's in our area. And I was like, absolutely yes, because if I can help somebody like myself navigate this very confusing world of Parkinson's care, and then I'm in, so if any way I could help to honor my father and to help somebody else is why I'm participating in this expo.